Hello, Millwall fans. Paul Eiffel here. It's time for Chat with Chaps.
Hello, ladies and gents. This is a post-match analysis from the game that's just finished at the Den. Literally just finished at the Den. Millwall 1, Watford 0. And that finally, we got that home win this season in the league. I don't actually think it was a very good performance. I'll come on to talk about that for sure. But I think what was really important tonight was getting those 3 points and obviously getting a victory at home at the Den against a pretty poor Watford side, if I'm being honest. I've seen the reaction on their Twitter. They already want their manager out. So, yeah, it's not a convincing performance for me. But like I said, really important to get the 1-0 win. And in fairness, obviously, various, defensive, good defensive displays and a very, very good save at the end from Stephen Bender made sure that we did keep that clean sheet and get that win. And, it's one of them. Now we've played 6 games. We've won half of them. We've got, what is it? Is it 10 points? I think that's right. So, we're in the top half of the table. It's such a weird league. You only got to look at the results on Saturday. Portsmouth losing at home to Sheffield Wednesday, Hull winning convincingly. I think Ipswich were losing at Blackburn. Oxford won 3-1 at Bristol City. This league, anyone can beat anyone. So don't underestimate any 3 points. And just delighted that we managed to do that. Again, with the amount of injuries we've got. Before we get into the post-match, I'm going to try and keep this one quite quick. I just want to obviously acknowledge the Shine Walk that I did on Saturday night into Sunday morning and just thank everyone tremendously for just your generosity. It is really humbling, the amount of money that we've managed to raise with Gift Aid. We're well over the £2,500 mark. So that gets us off to a great start. As you know, everything we do on this channel goes to Cancer Research UK. So gets us off to a great start and just was a really brilliant event. For anyone thinking about doing it, yeah, it's tough. I'm not going to lie. 26.2 miles is tough. But it was a really enjoyable experience and had the pleasure. So I don't know if you're listening to this. You said you would, but had the pleasure of obviously meeting Zoe and Jade doing that walk with you. It was an absolute pleasure. So, but just thank you so much for the donations. Thank you for the constant support. I had obviously spoke to a lot of people tonight as well that offered their thanks and donations as well. A couple of people come up and gave a little bit more money. So thank you to Rich and someone else who I didn't quite catch your name. Obviously, nice to meet tonight, Ollie. Nice to meet you, mate. Nick and Amy wasn't quite the 3-0, but we got the 1-0 win, didn't we? Barry, as always, good to see you again, mate. Thank you again for your donation. And also just want to wish Samuel well as well. I know you weren't able to get there tonight, but wanted to wish you well. Good to catch up with Jeff Burnage before the game. Jason, good to see you as well, mate. So yeah, just lots of thanks, basically, I want to say. And obviously it was a really good occasion on Saturday. Anyway, on to tonight's game, and obviously starting up with the lineups. Obviously, the most noticeable absentee for us was Mihailo Ivanovic not being in the squad. Believe he's got a shoulder injury. I don't think it's too bad, so hopefully it won't be too long before we see him. That was obviously the main change for us. So the lineup for us, obviously, Will Smallbone coming onto the bench, and noticeable starters Derek and of course Tierno Ballo also getting his first start in a Millwall shirt. So the team was Stephen Bender in goal, a back 4. So we did go back to a back 4. Ryan Leonard at right back, Tristan Crammer, Jake Cooper, Joe Bryan coming in back for Zach Sturge. Central midfield pairing of Massimo Luongo back from the knock or whatever he had, partnering Derek Mazusako in the centre of the park. On the right-hand side, Camille Negley. On the left-hand side, Audemars Maku. In the 10, Tierno Ballo, and then Josh Coburn up top. That was our lineup. For Watford, I think, like I've said, if you listen to the opposition view, Watford are the one team I don't really know much about. And what I would say is there were 3 players that impressed for me tonight for them. Iran Kunda, which I expected. I thought Hector Cipriano was quite good. Would have liked to have signed him. He's kind of that big physical midfield presence, 6'3". Thought he was pretty good. And I thought Pollock was good. And I know we've been linked with him before, but Matty Pollock is, I think he's turned out to be a very good defender. And Josh Coburn got absolutely nothing out of him. We will talk about that as well. Obviously, before the game, a round of a minute applause for Matt Beard, who tragically passed away. I think it was on Saturday. So thoughts with his family and friends at this time. I think the Beard family have very well connected with Millwall, and I believe he was very influential in the Lionesses setup. So condolences to his family, and it was nice to see both sets of supporters join in the 1 minute applause before the game. I thought it was strange that Negley didn't start in the 10 actually, and he started on the right hand side. And we score on 9 minutes, and it's a good free kick. But if that's our goalkeeper, I'm looking at that thinking he needs to save that. I thought it was, even admitted it in his post-match, Camille Negley. He was like, I didn't put much pace on it. I can't remember his exact wording, but it didn't. It wasn't the most amazing free kick. But it goes in, and we're going to take it. And obviously, the keeper goes down injured, sort of crashes into the post. It carries on the first half and ends up going off in the second half. But we go 1-0 up, and the first half, we were definitely the better side. I think there's obvious. I think they had a 5-minute spell between 30 and 35 where they kind of got a foothold on the game. They had one shot from distance that Bender parries to safety. But other than that, we had the other main chance of the first half where, and again, it was all Watford's own downfall. The chances we created in the game, majority of them were from Watford. Obviously, the free kick, they give that away. And this ball was over to the back stick. Just terrible defending. They give it straight to Leonard. Leonard plays a ball in a cross goal. And this is where I feel Coburn's got to hit the target there. I'm not defending him one ounce. And if you've listened to me in recent weeks, I've been critical of him. But the positive is he's getting in these positions. I'm trying to look at the positives. He is getting himself into these positions, but he's got to hit the target there. He really has. He does everything right, gets in front of his marker, but he's poor. He needs a goal, doesn't he, Josh Coburn? He really does need a goal. And we need him to start scoring goals. Because, without the free kick again tonight, and I know it's easy, ifs, buts, maybes, because the whole complexion of the game changes. But beyond that, we didn't really create too much either against, in my opinion, a really poor Watford side. Sorry to say that, Watford fans, but for me, definitely the worst side we played this season in the league by some distance. Because at least, I know Wrexham beat us, but at least they had, a goal threat, whereas I didn't think that Watford did, other than the 3 players that I mentioned. Cooper actually has a good chance on 29. Free header. Should do better, really. I forgot about that one. I'm just checking my notes in front of me. He should do better, really. We could break on 43, but Maku makes the wrong decision. I'm hearing that it wasn't Maku's greatest game tonight, and he looked a little bit off the pace. But Alex Neil obviously shared in his post-match that Idemo was violently ill at half-time, but they felt they had to keep him on, which I find strange because we had Bangura Williams on the bench, and that wasn't talked about, and he didn't come on at all. And that one, I'm not quite sure. I know they're not the same sort of player. I understand that, but you could have brought him on and put Ballo wide. So I don't quite understand that personally. I'll talk a bit about Ballo. I thought Joe Bryan in the first 29 minutes was outstanding, actually. And then he got booked on 30. And then I've literally written my notes right on cue. As soon as I turn to my friend and say, I think Joe Bryan's been amazing, he then goes and gets booked. But first off, I thought we were the better side. I think it was a poor game overall. But we were the better side. We were. In theory, we scored a goal and we created 2 other decent chances. It just didn't look that pretty. And the thing that I'm sort of concerned about is that, I don't agree with Alex Neil in his post-match. I think, other than against Norwich, I don't think we played very well all season. However, in the league. However, I thought about it after the game. There are 6 players that started that game at Norwich that aren't available at the minute. Obviously, one of them's Tanganga, he's gone, but there are 5 players that started that game that aren't available. Obviously, Alfie Doughty, Casper Denor, Billy Mitchell, Femi Aziz, Mihailo Ivanovic. That's half the team. If you take in consideration Tanganga, it means there's only 4 players on outfield that can still play. It is so. This is why I'm glass half empty, glass half full, because I don't think we're playing well. We won ugly tonight, but we're doing that with half a team. So yeah, and it looks like Ryan Leonard went off with an injury at the end. But yeah, it's comical, isn't it? Really, the amount of injuries we've got. Second half, I just felt that they can't be that bad again, and they weren't. And let's be honest, they controlled that second half. I did look during the game to see how much possession that they had in that second half, and I can look at it now. They had 70% possession in that second half. 7 shots, 3 on target. So they definitely came at us, and it was about how good could we be defensively. But I would say one chance of note for either side, other than Iran Kunda had a long shot that, yes, it's hit at pace. Yes, it moves in the air. I think very well struck, but Bender probably needs to push that somewhere else other than straight back out. Luckily for us, the rebound comes at the player too quickly and it goes over the bar. But I just thought we were clinging on, and I hate that because I thought, I mean, how many times down the years have we done this? We've gone 1-0 up and we just sort of cling on. And yeah, maybe Alex Neil had to make a decision to say, yeah, look, I'd rather go 5 at the back and hold on to this 1-0 because I'm confident we can. Because of the lack of options we've got. And I understand that, but I just felt this is a poor Watford team. You know, I don't think we're going to play many sides that are going to be as bad as that, if I'm being really honest. And I hate saying that because, as you know, I really like the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast buys. And by the way, Watford fans, if you listen to this, thank you, because I've received donations from Watford fans as well. And that says a lot. So thank you very much, Watford fans. I really do appreciate that. Watford huffed and puffed. They made loads of different substitutions. Brought a fair few numbers as well, actually. Even Rocco Vata come on 87. He was the lad that signed for Watford from Celtic when we signed Daniel Kelly. Couple of nearly moments for us on 57. Ballo got put through, but he just didn't have the pace or physicality to get clear. And just on Ballo, I think when he gets used to the physicality of the Championship, I think he's going to be a good player. But at the minute, he does some good things. He does some not so good things. And at times, I felt he looked a little bit lost. And that's expected. He's brand new, whatever. I just, he's not as quick as I thought he'd be, if I'm being really honest. And he definitely needs a bit more physicality. And that you could say for the whole team. The one thing that I think we're really lacking at the minute, other than probably the experienced heads in there, you know, the likes of Luongo, Brian, Cooper, etc., is physicality. We're just so almost too nice. I mean, that's Josh's problem, right? You know, he's getting himself in good positions and stuff like that, but he just gets bullied every game. And yes, the referee could give him more protection, but that ain't gonna happen. So something needs to change. He just needs to be a bit more of an arsehole, if I'm honest, Josh. You know, if I'm Josh, or I'm Josh's coach or whatever, I'm saying to him, just get in the gym and just do a bit of strength work, because I think he's got everything else. I really do. Yeah, okay, he's missed a lot of chances, but I do believe he's going to come good, and I stand by that. And he works hard. I just think he just needs to, because at the minute he's just getting nothing out of pretty much any centre back he comes up against. 81 minutes, we should have had a penalty. I've seen it back once. And I've asked a few people that were watching it at home that weren't Millwall fans, and they all believe it was a penalty. Alex Neil thought it was a penalty. At the game, I'm fairly in line with it. I think it's a penalty. So, you know, you score the Josh Coburn chance in the first half. We could have technically won the game 2 or 3-0. But it just never really played out that way. The best chance of the second half comes on 89, where Leonard, he doesn't need to give a corner away there. He does. I thought Leonard was good today, by the way. Much better than he was against Charlton. But it looks like he injured himself right at the end. He always feels with Leonard, he's one game away, doesn't it, from a muscle tear or something, which is a shame because, as I said, I thought he had a decent game. But the corner comes in. We don't win the first contact, which is really poor. In theory, whoever's on the front post, maybe they could have got it, but we just don't win the first contact. It kind of ricochets off someone flicks it towards goal. And I don't know how much he knows about it, but Stephen Bender makes a very, very, very good save. Obviously, his positioning was good, and I think he rolls it onto the post, and we clear it. I think everyone thought they'd scored, certainly from my angle. But a very, very good save from him. And we see the game out. And obviously, like, I sound a little bit defeated, I suppose. But we win the game. And that was what was most important. But I don't think the performance was very good. But then having said that, can we expect it to be much better with this kind of makeshift team we've got? That's kind of where I am at the minute. And like I said, with 6 players out that started that first game, it's very, very difficult to get that continuity. Every single game, there seems to be changes. Just talking about a few players then. So I thought, as I said, Joe Bryan, I thought had a really good first half. I thought Cooper was good. But my man of the match was Tristan Kramer. I thought it was excellent. The amount of balls into the box with vital blocks, clearances, interceptions he made, even when it went a right back, he just looks so calm and collected. And at times you're like, how on earth has he kept the ball? And I think only once in the second half he overrun it, but I thought he was outstanding, Tristan Kramer. I'd love to know how many blocks and first contacts that he made overall. He was my man of the match. I know Luongo got it for Sky. I thought Luongo was good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he was man of the match for me. I thought Derek, this is what you're going to get with someone like him. He was outstanding against Palace. Today, I think the second half, at times, I didn't even know if he was playing. But he's going to be an incredible talent. And I think this is where he was brought in to learn and develop, and he's one that's just going to have games where he's really, really good and games where he's not. I don't think he was poor. I'm not saying that at all, but he needs time. But what I would say is we're going to have some midfield options when we've got everyone back. Who else I want to talk about? Negley. So ultimately, he's the match winner because he scores the free kick. Outside of that, I don't think he did much, but I do think he tried to put himself about a little bit more. I've been critical about how, what's the word? Lax he is in his approach. But I thought, I'm not saying necessarily he to much avail. I'm not saying he won loads of tackles and things like that, but I do feel he started to put himself about a little bit. Idemo, I don't think it was his greatest game, but we've learned obviously that he was injured. I've already talked about Ballo. I think he shows glimpses of what he can be, and I'm really excited to see that, but I don't think he's there yet, nor should we expect him to be. I've talked about Josh. He needs a bloody goal, and he needs to get in the gym, but I do stand by the fact he will come good. I thought Smallbone in his camo when he came on, I thought he looked good. I really do. I think, he wins the ball back for... there was a Ballo chance, which I've not talked about. He wins the ball back and Ballo takes it first time. Probably shouldn't have done. But, really like the look of him. Obviously, Taylor and Sturge, very short periods that they were on, but I thought they looked decent. And Langstaff arguably won a penalty. So, yeah. Look, I think overall, I've summarised because I do want to try and finish this one. The result was the important thing tonight. We got it. Back to winning ways at home. Gritty performance. Monday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. Thanks, Sky. It was never going to be an amazing atmosphere, and it certainly wasn't. And at times you just need the team to go out there and grind a win, and they did. So credit to them for that. I think we'll only get better. We are notoriously slow starters. We've got loads of injuries to come out, which needs an inquest. I keep saying it. But overall, I think we can now go into a next sort of batch of fixtures. Swansea away. I think it's West Brom and Coventry at home in quick succession, where hopefully we can start to really get some points on the board. And by sort of 10, 12 games, we'll really start to see where we are with some of those players back. So, yeah, let's be optimistic. Let's think about the positives. Smallbone looked good. Ballow's integrating into the team. Another start for Derek. Crammer was excellent, like I say, my man of the match. So yeah, look, I'm going to be optimistic here. Strikers need to get a goal. Hopefully, Ivanovic will come back soon, and we move on to Swansea away on Saturday, which I won't be going to because I'm away with Mrs. Chaps for. It was actually our wedding anniversary, so tonight, and obviously I decided to go to watch Millwall Watford. But we're going away for a few days, me and Mrs. Chaps. So I think about getting a post match out because I don't even know if I'll be able to watch the game. Because we're going to Italy, to the Amalfi Coast. I've never been before, and it's pissing down the old time. So maybe I will watch it. Who needs to go out? Anyway, thanks as always for listening. Much appreciated. As I said, really nice to see some of you tonight. Thank you so much for the donations. It really does mean a lot, and I will always be proud of this club and proud to be a part of the Millwall family. Enjoy the rest of your week. We've got some good stuff coming out. Live show in the week. As always. No, this is where you know it's in one take. The outro video is not quite there. There we go. As always, thanks for listening. Bye.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.